Thanksgiving Day, the kind of holiday where everyone expects warmth, togetherness, and good food. But let's be honest, no Thanksgiving is ever perfect. Someone always burns something, someone always drinks too much, and someone always brings up politics at the table. In this story, none of that matters, because something even crazier happened. On this particular Thanksgiving, my older brother Dave changed all of our lives with one tiny piece of cardboard, a lottery ticket. But before the chaos, let me paint you the scene. The whole family was crammed into my parents' house. The kitchen smelled like turkey, stuffing, sweet potatoes, and just a hint of something burnt because my aunt had already set off the smoke alarm trying to caramelize her pie. The living room was chaos. Kids were running around, screaming like they had eaten a pound of sugar before arriving. The dog was stealing food directly off the coffee table. Grandma was yelling at the TV, smacking the remote because she still believes hitting it makes the batteries work better. And in the middle of all this madness sat my brother Dave. Now, Dave is, how do I put this politely? Dave is the dreamer of the family. He is the guy who thinks his big break is always just around the corner. He plays fantasy football like it's a career. He tells us he is networking every time he spends 5 hours at the bar, and on every single holiday without fail, Dave brings a stack of lottery scratch-offs to the table. He says it is his tradition. Everyone else says it is his way of avoiding actual conversation. This year, Dave walked in with a fresh pile of tickets from the gas station. He put them down right next to his plate before even saying hello to Grandma. My sister rolled her eyes and said, "Maybe this year you'll win enough to pay me back for all the times I bought you lunch." Everyone laughed. Dave just grinned and said, "You'll see." Dinner had not even started yet, and already the energy was weird. My dad just wanted a normal meal where everyone behaved. My mom was begging us to take nice family photos before we got food all over our clothes. My sister was scrolling on her phone, ignoring everyone. My aunt was loudly insisting that her pie was not burnt, it was rustic. And then there was Dave sitting at the table, tapping his scratch-off coins against his plate like a drummer, just waiting for the right moment to start scratching. You could feel the tension. Half the family was ready to laugh at him again, and the other half was just hoping he wouldn't ruin dinner. As the turkey came out of the oven, golden and steaming, everyone gathered around the table. Plates were filled, drinks were poured, and for one brief moment, it felt like a normal Thanksgiving. Then Dave cleared his throat. He reached into his jacket, pulled out his shiny stack of lottery tickets, and placed them on the table with the drama of a magician revealing his trick. Everyone groaned in unison. My mom begged him, "Can you wait until after dinner?" Dave shook his head and smirked. "Tradition," he said. And that was the moment we should have known. This Thanksgiving wasn't going to be about turkey or family or gratitude. This was going to be about Dave and his ticket to chaos. Dinner was served. Plates were filled with turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and gravy. For a short moment, everyone was focused on food. Dave, however, had his eyes locked on the stack of lottery tickets. He pulled one out, grabbed a coin, and began scratching while everyone else was chewing. The first ticket was a loser. He crumpled it and tossed it aside with dramatic flair. The second ticket was also a loser. The family laughed quietly, shaking their heads. The third ticket came close to a win, but not quite. Dave announced, "This one is a tease." My sister rolled her eyes and said, "Same story every year." The atmosphere was filled with turkey aroma and the sound of forks scraping plates, but Dave was in his own world. On the fifth ticket, something changed. Dave froze halfway through scratching. His hand started to shake. He leaned closer to the card, breathing hard. Everyone noticed and went silent. Even the dog stopped barking, almost as if it understood that something big was happening. Dave's voice cracked as he said, "Wait, no way this is real." He scratched faster, coins clinking against the card, and his eyes grew wider with every number revealed. Finally, he dropped the coin and shouted, "I won!" The whole table jumped. Forks hit plates. Grandma gasped so loudly she almost choked on her cranberry sauce. The little cousin screamed, thinking something terrible had happened. My dad muttered, "What now?" Dave leapt out of his chair, knocking it over. He raised the ticket above his head like a trophy. "I won $10 million!" he yelled. His voice echoed through the house. The turkey platter shifted dangerously as the table shook from his sudden movement. A glass of wine tipped over, splashing across the tablecloth. No one cared. All eyes were on the ticket in his hand. Mom started crying instantly. My baby finally caught a break. She hugged him so tightly that Dave nearly lost grip of the card. He pulled back, clutching it to his chest like it was a newborn child. Shock turned into chaos. My sister slammed her fork down and shouted, "You better pay off my student loans!" "I mean it." My aunt clapped her hands and said, "This is destiny." I knew someone in this family would be chosen. Grandma muttered, "About time." The younger kids started chanting, "We are rich. We are rich." The dog barked along with the chant, making it sound like a carnival instead of Thanksgiving. My dad rubbed his temples and whispered, "This will ruin everything." Meanwhile, Dave stood in the center of the storm, grinning like a champion, waving the ticket in one hand and a drumstick in the other. Dinner was forgotten. The turkey cooled on the table, the pie sat untouched, and the gravy slowly spread from the earlier spill. All anyone could think about was the winning ticket. Every face around the table was lit up with a different dream. Cars, houses, vacations, freedom from bills. Dave had dreamed of this moment for years, but even he looked overwhelmed. His hand shook as he tucked the ticket carefully into his shirt pocket. He whispered to himself, "This changes everything." And in that instant, the family shifted from celebrating together to calculating silently what they could each gain. Thanksgiving had officially turned into a battlefield. The moment Dave announced he had won, my mom burst into tears. She grabbed a napkin and started sobbing into it, crying, "I knew you were destined for greatness. I always believed in you." She hugged him again and nearly bent the ticket in half. Dave had to pry himself free, muttering, "Careful, this is worth more than everything in this house combined." At the same time, my aunt whipped out her phone and started dialing numbers. "I have to tell everyone, they will not believe this. $10 million right in our family." Dave panicked. "Stop! Do not tell anyone until I cash it in." But she was already bragging to Aunt Linda on speakerphone. My dad finally spoke, his voice heavy and calm, the way a man talks right before delivering bad news. He leaned forward, steepled his hands, and said, "This kind of money will destroy us if you are not careful." The room went silent. Everyone stared at him. He continued, "Money changes people. It will turn this family into enemies. You need to invest wisely. Real estate, index funds, maybe municipal bonds." Dave nodded politely, but you could see in his eyes he was not hearing a single word about bonds. He was picturing a bright orange Lamborghini. My sister slammed her glass onto the table and locked eyes with Dave. "So you are paying off my student loans, right?" "That is not a request. You owe me. I drove you to work for 2 years when you did not even have a car." Dave laughed nervously. "We will see." She shouted back, "We will see? You are seriously going to keep $10 million and not help your own sister?" She turned to the rest of us. Tell him he owes me." The tension was building. You could feel the air heating up. Grandma clapped her hands loudly, cutting through the argument. "Enough! I have a list of what I want." Everyone stared at her. She pulled out a notepad she had hidden in her purse, like she had been waiting for this day her whole life. Number 1, a swimming pool. Number 2, a trip to Paris. Number 3, a fur coat for her cat. Nobody even knew the cat wore clothes, but apparently Grandma had a vision. Dave stuttered, "Grandma, I did not even cash the ticket yet." She waved him off. "Do not waste time. Money disappears if you do not spend it." The kids started chanting again. "We are rich. We are rich." They ran circles around the table until one of them tripped and knocked over the gravy boat, splattering more food onto the already stained tablecloth. The dog barked and jumped, trying to lick it up. The room was a madhouse. My mom was crying with joy. My sister was fuming with rage. My aunt was broadcasting the news to every relative. Grandma was making demands, and my dad was warning about financial doom. And in the middle stood Dave, still clutching the ticket to his chest, looking both thrilled and terrified. He whispered under his breath, This is either the best day of my life or the start of the end. The room had reached boiling point. My mom was still crying tears of joy, hugging Dave like he had just returned from war. My sister was demanding money like she was a debt collector. My aunt was screaming into her phone, telling distant cousins that she was about to be rich by association. Dad raised his voice over the chaos. Everyone calm down. If we do not handle this carefully, the money will rip this family apart. But no one was listening. Half the family sided with Dave, cheering and celebrating, while the other half argued about who deserved what share. Even the kids picked sides. One yelled, "Uncle Dave is buying me Disneyland." Another shouted back, "No, he is buying me a pony." The dog barked louder as if trying to claim his own cut of the winnings. Dave stood up on his chair, waving his arms to get attention. He still had turkey grease on his fingers, but he pointed dramatically and shouted, "Listen, this is my moment. I am finally free. No more lectures, no more jokes at my expense. I am rich now. $10 million. I can buy whatever I want." He paused, then declared, "First thing I am buying is a Lamborghini." The entire table exploded in disbelief. Mom gasped. Dad slammed his fist on the table. "A car? That is how you waste your future?" Grandma scribbled swimming pool twice on her list to make sure it was not forgotten. My sister snapped. She stood up, knocking her chair backward, and shouted, "This is unbelievable. You are talking about buying a Lamborghini while I am drowning in debt. You owe me, Dave. You always owe me." She pointed across the table, shaking with anger. "I want my loans gone. I want a new car. And I want it before you waste it all on toys." Dave shouted back, "It is my money. I can do whatever I want." For a moment, they were nose to nose across the table, glaring like boxers before a fight. Just when it seemed like it could not get more ridiculous, Grandma spoke again. She tapped her fork against her glass, trying to restore order. "Excuse me? I have priorities. I will not die before I swim in my own pool. I want it heated, tiled, and with steps gentle enough for my knees." Then she turned to Dave and added, "And do not forget the fur coat for my cat. He deserves luxury too." The table fell silent for a second, everyone staring at Grandma in disbelief. The silence lasted only 3 seconds before people erupted into laughter, shouting, or groaning in frustration. By now, the turkey was stone cold, the gravy had congealed, and no one was eating. Voices overlapped as the house turned into a battlefield. The kids were running in circles chanting, "We are rich." The aunt was on the phone telling someone that she was moving into a mansion. My sister was still yelling at Dave about her loans. Grandma was describing the exact shade of marble she wanted for her pool deck. In the middle of it all, Dave was sweating through his shirt, clutching the ticket like it was the last piece of treasure on earth. He shouted at the top of his lungs, "Everyone stop! This is my win, not yours." But nobody stopped. The family was too far gone. Thanksgiving had become a war over money that no one even had yet. In the middle of the shouting match, Dave reached into his shirt pocket to check the ticket. His face went pale. The pocket was empty. He shouted, "Where is it?" The entire family froze. Forks stopped clinking. The dog stopped barking. For 5 terrifying seconds, everyone thought the $10 million ticket was gone. The little cousin lifted the gravy boat and shouted, "Is this it?" The ticket was stuck underneath, soggy with gravy. Dave screamed, No, 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 do not touch it." He grabbed it, wiped it gently with a napkin, and held it up to the light. His hands were shaking so badly it looked like he might rip it in half. Dave sat back down, clutching the wet ticket like a sacred artifact. His girlfriend leaned close and whispered, "You know this might not even be real. You have not checked it at the store yet." The room went silent again. Everyone stared at her. Dad sighed. "Of course. We are destroying the family over a piece of paper that has not even been verified." Mom gasped, "Do not ruin this moment." Grandma said, "It is real. The universe owes me a pool." The sister shouted, "If it is fake, I swear I will never forgive you." Dave's face was sweating. For the first time that night, he looked less like a champion and more like a man cornered in his own home. Dad stood up slowly and delivered the final gut punch. "This is exactly what I meant. We are already fighting like enemies, and we do not even know if this ticket is valid. This is not wealth. This is poison." The room fell heavy with his words. Even the kids stopped chanting. Dave swallowed hard, staring down at the gravy-stained ticket in his trembling hand. He whispered, "It has to be real. It just has to be." For the first time all evening, the room was quiet. Nobody touched the turkey. Nobody touched the pie. The smell of food filled the air, but nobody had an appetite anymore. Dave sat at the head of the table, clutching his ticket, with every set of eyes on him. Grandma muttered under her breath about heated pools. The sister sulked with her arms crossed. Mom dabbed her tears and whispered prayers. The aunt kept checking her phone, probably already telling people she was rich. It was supposed to be Thanksgiving. Instead, it looked like the aftermath of a courtroom trial. Finally, Dave stood, cleared his throat, and tried to bring back a shred of dignity. Even if this ticket is fake, tonight proved something. We are not ready for money. We are not ready for $10 million. We are not ready for $10,000. We cannot even handle Thanksgiving dinner without turning into vultures. He put the ticket on the table, looked around, and added with a weak smile, "At least this will be a Thanksgiving we never forget." The turkey was cold, the pie was burnt, and the family was more divided than ever. But he was right. No one would ever forget the night Thanksgiving dinner turned into a lottery meltdown. This is the end of that story. Now tell me in the comments, what was your most embarrassing story? I'll read out the funniest ones in the next video. Do not forget to hit a like button and subscribe. See you.